Hello and welcome in to Keyworth Stadium for the 2024 USLW League Central Conference Final between Detroit City Football Club and Indy 11. My name is Jarrett Mackey alongside Sean Grogan. Sean, the whole year, this team has kind of been building up to different moments. At first, it was the Midwest United game at home, then it was the Kalamazoo game at home, and then it was Midwest away to clinch playoffs. They got through all those tests. They got through the test on Friday, and now they're here for their first Cup final since forming the women's side in 2020.
Yeah, I think you have to say that this is yet again the biggest game in program history. Facing off in the regional final against the defending national champions. It really doesn't get much bigger than that. I mean, well, there's the national final, but
we got to clear this hurdle first before we even think about that one. Yes. Yeah, and you know, Detroit City FC on Friday, they came out. Riverlight was a talented team, a lot of talented D1 players on that squad, but Indy 11's a whole new animal. Last year, of course, the defending W League national champions. They beat Minnesota Aurora. It wasn't convincing at times, but they got the result done. That's playoff soccer, and they moved on to today's final.
Both teams in that first game had moments where they could have conceded goals and ended up going out of playoffs. But like you said, that is playoff soccer. You're not going to get through these games without bumps along the way. The teams are all quality, but in the end, both teams had enough to survive and advance to the next round.
Yeah, and most certainly as we take a look at Indy 11 here in the red strip, Detroit City FC, of course, in the away kit, not to avoid a kick clash. I think the Reds are a little bit too separate, but regardless, we're going to take a look at Detroit City FC starting 11. A lot of unchanged elements of it, but a huge one right there. Number 71, Sophia Romine, comes back into the squad.
Well, we've seen what she's provided all year. She's scored a number of really long-range goals, but I really think it's the build-up play that is the biggest addition for this Detroit team. We saw a lot of direct play out of them on Friday, and she is a key cog in the midfield.
Yeah, and she's going to link up play well between Aubrey Champa, Lily Jekyll, Romine, and Paget back there. That's a really powerful and strong front four to attack an Indy 11 team that has the quality, has the experience to see through a cup final. So, yeah, Detroit City FC, a really strong 11 for this point in the season. You know, Detroit City FC fans for a while would remember it used to be a struggle putting MPSL teams together at this point in the year. And now to have this strong of a lineup at this point in the season, you couldn't ask for much more.
It feels good to have most of your starting 11 available in the playoffs. On the Indy side, there are 3 changes to their starting lineup today. Hadley Snyder, Abigail Unkraut, and Susan Soderstrom come into the starting 11 for them today.
We saw Soderstrom as a late second-half sub against Minnesota. She came on and thought maybe she might have to play more than the couple minutes she had due to the late penalty kick by Minnesota. Of course, a great job by Kate Phillips to get down and make that save and see her side win it in normal time, avoiding extra time, and being in today's final as well. So as the sides get ready for kickoff here at Keyworth Stadium, the sun is out. It's a little bit warmer than maybe we thought it might be. There's some Indy 11 fans down to our right that have made the trip, so good to see that. And we are getting ready for today's kickoff. It'll be Indy 11 that'll start the honors here at Keyworth Stadium on a Sunday, a Cup Final Sunday here at Keyworth. Just waiting on the official now to give the signal, doing the final checks. Checking her watch. And we are underway in the 2024 USLW League Central Conference Final from Keyworth Stadium. Indy 11 immediately plays that ball out of play. It'll be a Detroit City FC throw-in in their own half. All season, Detroit City FC has been comfortable playing out of the back. They're not afraid to attack opposing teams. It's really been the case every single match we've seen from this team, home and away this season.
The only one I would say that they went to something different would be the last match, the last playoff match. There was a lot of really direct play out of Detroit City and actually out of Indy in their game. They had a very, very strong counterattack going against Minnesota. Proved to be too much for Aurora to deal with in the end.
And interesting to see here, you know, how these teams approach this game. Obviously, Detroit City FC has the advantage being local. They slept in their own beds. They didn't have to travel. Indy 11 comes in on a holiday weekend. It's going to be hard to find players to do so. And then it's pretty much an unchanged 18 because of the fact that, you know, other players might not be making the drive by themselves in between Friday and Sunday. But we see here an early chance for Indy 11 to break down to the back line. It's going to be into the area. It's going to be a shot's going to come in, and Shriver's going to see that one go far of the post. That was Natalie Mitchell. She, of course, scored the winner for Indy on Friday against Minnesota. We'll see it again here. Kind of just caught sleeping at the back. It was a good run in by Whitsitt and just played it all the way across to Mitchell. We saw that combination, that algorithm work a couple times for Indy on Friday, and within 90 seconds here, it's worked for them once again.
Well, that was an early warning shot for Detroit, and we see immediately how quickly Indy can turn from winning the ball to through on goal. Detroit's really going to have to watch that as this game goes on because Indy's attack is very quick.
And something we were talking about before the game, too, I think talent-wise, these teams are relatively even. If not one having a slight edge over the other. But Indy 11's been there. They've done that. They have the experience of winning in these must-win, these big moment games, last year's national champions. They have experience in that regard that Detroit City FC simply just doesn't have yet.
And they won that national championship with many of the same players that we see out there tonight. So it is not just an organizational experience. It is these specific players with that level of experience.
Indy 11 now throwing the ball into the area. It's going to be Acadia Murphy that's going to throw a foot at that one to get it away. Champa looks to get going on the turn. She gets the final touch on it, but it will be out for an Indy 11 throw-in down on that far side. Indy 11 comfortable with their backs to goal. Good cut out there by Drew Martin, I believe that was on the far side. And an even better cut inside to open up some space. Childers on the ball now. Plays it back to Sulis. Sulis pressed. Eventually has to get rid of it, I think, quicker than she would have wanted to, but it's going to stay with Detroit City FC with Drew Martin. Martin able to throw a foot up at it. Tried to find Romine. Martin's going to be on this one now. Detroit City FC has numbers in space forward to try to break here for the first time in today's contest. Emily Paget sort of just pushed off the ball. Paget, of course, heavily involved in Friday's 3-0 win. Scored the third goal. And all three goals on Friday were beautiful from Detroit City FC, but I think Paget's might have been the favorite, the fan favorite. Always good to score from outside of the box. Played down the line. Champa's going to keep that one in. A great flick from Champa, but just maybe a little bit too much on it. She did well to get it over Hadley Snyder, but Grace Barr was sort of in a more advanced position and sees that one out of play for a goal kick. So good early signs from both sides. To be honest, but Indy 11 so far able to move the ball down the field better than Detroit City FC has.
Yeah, that was the first time we've really seen Detroit advance the ball into the Indy half. Nothing came of it in the end, but it'll be interesting to see how the run of play goes. We're only 3 minutes in. There's not a huge sample size yet.
Detroit City FC, of course, they play all their home games here at Keyworth Stadium, outside, a lot of times in some heat. Whereas Indy 11, they play their matches indoors at Grand Park, just outside of Indianapolis. So I wonder if that will play a factor. Of course, their away games are outside, but to have the familiarity of playing outdoors in some heat, that might be new for those players in today's contest.
The sun is shining. It can get in your eyes at certain points. Sweat can drip into your eyes but you probably get that inside too. There is a slight breeze, but nothing too major today.
Offer now out wide. Plays the right-footed ball into the area. Champa's there. She throws a foot at it. I believe there was some contact, but not enough for anything to be called by the official other than a goal kick. So a good early sign there. It was a good little lagging ball in behind from Jekyll to find Offer out wide and played back into Champa, who was just covered well in the box by the Indy 11 back line.
A little bit of contact as the ball come in. The Indy defender just gave enough to throw her off balance. Wasn't able to corral it in the end.
Indy 11 now looking to swing the pendulum back in their direction. It'll be a long ball dealt with by Maya Sulis, the Ohio Bobcat, former Michigan State Spartan. That one's going to be out of play for a Detroit City FC goal kick. Maya Sulis, before college, played for the Michigan Hawks under the current Flint City AFC head coach. So sort of a fun little Great Lakes Division cornucopia. I don't know what word I'm looking for there, but yeah, you all know. Murphy now. Second stint with Detroit City FC. That one's going to fall to Lily Jekyll in the midfield. Jekyll has Offer on the far side if she can find her. Goes to ground. I think that was a clean tackle in the midfield by Indy 11. Jekyll once again on the ball. That's actually Champa that time. Great turn inside by Champa. Really composed on the ball and not afraid to spring attackers forward. Tried to find Ella Offer on that far side, who was in acres of space, which we've seen all season. Teams just give her the space every game, and every game I can't figure out for the life of me why they do. That's going to be a through ball. Acadia Murphy fell off of it, but Shriver's down to claim it. Good to see Shriver out there after taking a knock to her leg in the dying moments of the Riverlight game on Friday. Tried to find Emily Paget there, but maybe just Indy 11 putting the pressure on. Good turn there. Right-footed shot's going to come, and Shriver's not over to it. And Maisie Whitsett gives Indy 11 the lead inside 7 minutes at Keyworth Stadium.
Well, Detroit tried to play the ball out there. There was sort of a misplaced pass. Indy jumped on it. And, again, the rapidness of that Indy attack to turn winning the ball into a shot on goal. It's really kind of terrifying how quickly they're able to do that.
Yeah, not only the turn, to have the shot, to have the quality to be able to tuck it in that far corner, make it difficult for Shriver to have to make a save. And you know, to the credit of the Detroit City FC back line, Shriver hasn't had much to do all season. So to put her under pressure early here is going to be something that we'll see how she adapts, and that whole back line, how they adapt in this first half. So Indy 11 now taking an early lead. We saw something similar against Aurora on Friday.
Yeah, in that game, Aurora was able to really establish themselves as the game wore on. In the second half, they had a lot of possession. Possession was really tilted towards Indy's goal, but Indy was sitting on a 1-goal lead, and they were able to still fashion counterattacking chances for themselves. So we may see a familiar pattern again today.
Offer looking to get on to the end of that one. It's going to be pushed out of play calmly by Susan Soderstrom.
And certainly Detroit will need to do that at this point. They need to find a way to get themselves back into this.
It's not often we've seen Detroit City FC have to come from behind in the W League this season. Of course, all season only conceding 5 goals in the regular season. Only 3 teams in the country conceded fewer goals than Detroit City FC did all year. So just a testament to how strong their unit's been all year. And to be behind early here is going to be a new territory for them, an unfamiliar situation, but one that they'll, they had to score anyways if they wanted to win this game. So not going to change that mindset too much. Sophia Romine applying some pressure there on the far side. It's going to be played out for a Detroit City FC throw-in. See it again here. Yeah, that turn of pace just really beat Murphy. It beat Shriver and tucked into that far corner. That's a tough goal to keep out.
Yeah, there's not much Gabby Shriver can do on that. The way the ball was tucked into the corner on the far end, certainly cannot blame her on that.
The speed and the placement of the shot itself, but not just like the actual, foot touching the ball, but the quickness of which it came out of her feet, that would have put Shriver off too. Childers chips that one into some space. No one really making a run to answer it. Champa now steps up into it as it kind of just bounced off the turf a few times before coming back out to Indy. It's the goal scorer Whitsett on the ball now, defended by Childers, but great job there by Ella Offer to put a foot in. Childers back to Murphy. One thing we've seen from Detroit City FC all year is they don't change the way that they play when they take the lead. The game state hasn't really mattered too much for Dave Drahe's side, but this is a new game state for them to be in, so interested to see if they make any tweaks being behind as opposed to being ahead. But this early in the match, I wonder if they're just going to, kind of keep what they're doing, and then if they need to change it later on, pull the emergency ripcord, we'll see them do so.
I think it's far too early to go to plan B of any sort. They will have developed a plan to start this game where they think they can be there at their best against Indy, and there's no reason to change that at this state. Maybe you go in at halftime and start talking about what you need to do differently.
Shriver on the ball now is going to punt that one forward. Going to be Emily Paget looking to win the header, but it's eventually won by Unkraut. We're going to hear a whistle.
Ball just took a touch off the referee, caused a turnover, drop ball for Indy.
I feel like that's been happening more and more, balls hitting the referees. I'm not sure if that's just we're noticing it more or they changed the law to make people notice it more or what it is, but regardless, Indy 11 from the drop ball back underway through the feet of Addison Chester, playing it back to Hadley Snyder. Sophia Romine, good tackle from her to win the ball back for Detroit City FC, who has numbers forward. It's Champa now, just tried to slip in Lily Jekyll, but a good and crucial interception there from the Indy back line. On that occasion, it was Grace Barr operating from that left back position. Headed up sort of unconvincingly by Maya Sulis, but eventually made its way over to Kate Childers. Detroit City FC trying to operate some clever little triangles to open up space further up the pitch. That one's headed by Bosley, the goal scorer from Friday's match against River Light. Scored the first goal. Also scored early was Detroit City FC in that contest. University of Michigan Wolverine. Ella Offer laying it off to Childers. Childers, of course, the assister on that opening goal from Bosley on Friday night, but it'll go all the way back to Kate Phillips for an Indy 11 goal kick. Phillips not the first choice keeper for Indy 11 this season, but coming in a crucial moment. Of course, you know, the moment doesn't get as big as it did on Friday against Aurora. An 88th minute penalty. She stepped up, made the save, and answered the call to see her side through to today's final. Header by Chester back into the midfield, finding nobody. Ball's back to Shriver. Going to be played down the line. Paget unable to get a touch on it. Martin having some defending to do now. Chester's going to play a clever ball inside to Mitchell, the goal scorer. But Martin does well to recover. Bosley poking it into Childers and then back out wide to Offer, who's going to get onto that one before it goes out of play. A little bit behind her, that ball from Childers was. Childers just doesn't have the time on the ball. She thinks she does. And now Indy 11's in, and that one is a crucial save by Shriver off of the post. And she's going to be wanting more from the back line there. I think Childers just took, when the ball came to her, it looked like she didn't realize that player was there. That was Whitsett on that occasion, the right-footed strike. It was a great save by Shriver, I think more than we realized at the time. And it's a corner for Indy 11.
That's another shot across the bow for Detroit City as they're trying to play out. There have been a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes that Indy has pounced on and has created their best opportunities of the game.
A huge save by Shriver there to keep Detroit City FC only one goal down. Shriver's going to come off her line to claim this one. It's sort of a no man's land, and that one's out for a goal kick. Of course, Indy 11, we know the danger they possess on the corner. That's how they got their early goal against Minnesota on Friday. And on that one, asked some questions with that delivery, and Shriver was out to claim it, just never got to it. Just the header wasn't be able to put on target by Indy 11. Detroit City FC struggling so far to handle the press that Indy 11's employing, especially on the defenders. And we've talked about that in a couple different games this year. Detroit City FC, they've not been pressed really ever this season, and we've sort of wondered when teams were going to start doing so. And now that they are, it's been difficult for LaRouge to cope with that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a learning experience for them as they find themselves as one of the better teams in the league, really for the first time this year, where in past years there were a lot more even back and forth games for them, but this year, obviously undefeated team up until this point, they've had a lot of.
Jekyll now on the turn, has some space to operate. He's going to play it in for Champa. Champa was coming back from an offside position, but did well to hold her run there. Playing in Ella Offer on the far side. Offer creating space for the ball in. Ella Offer plays the ball, and it takes a touch out for a Detroit City FC corner. So, you know, I was just about to say, the more that Indy 11 sees success in the press, the more confidence they'll have when doing so. And this is a good kind of stop the bleeding moment for Detroit City FC. Pump the brakes a little bit and earn a corner and try to make something happen on the set piece. That one's played in high up into the sky. It's going to be Sulis that gets a head onto it and calmly into the hands of Kate Phillips. She was able to just sit there and wait for that one to come into her hands. See it again here. It was Romine on the delivery, and Sulis was up for it. And yeah, nothing endangering Phillips on that occasion. A great touch in there by Champa. Jekyll just wasn't able to control her feet to make anything happen of it. Now Indy 11 has time and space to break on the far side. Slipped through, past Offer, right-footed ball into the area. That one's going to take a touch off of Sulis and go out for a corner. So on one end, Maya Sulis is up attacking a corner, and the other end she concedes a corner and will now have to defend one for her side. .5 minutes gone from Keyworth Stadium in the 2024 W League Central Conference Final. Thank you guys for joining us on YouTube, CBSDetroit.com, and Sports Engine Play. Indy 11, early goal through Natalie Mitchell, the match winner from Friday. Involved once again here, and now Detroit City FC has a corner to defend. Didn't do too great of a job at it last time. Kept the goal out, but a little bit nerve-wracking, and Shriver's going to stay at home this time. Headed across the face of goal. Indy 11's going to keep it in on the touchline. Played back in and eventually cleared out, but it'll be an Indy 11 throw-in still in Detroit City FC's half. A lot of movement from Indy 11 on this throw-in. Closest available player, Sophia Roman applying the press. Lily Bosley as well over to help. For those watching at home, the green line does not matter. It's the white line on the field that matters. Champa just unable to control that pass into Paget. I think she genuinely looked frustrated when she played that ball. Not sure if she was frustrated at the run of Paget or the way the ball felt off the foot. Waiting on the line judge to make a decision. He gives it to Detroit City.
A little bit of confusion over which way the call was going to go. That line judge and center took their time to get it right.
Definitely took their time. I was watching with bated breath trying to decide who was going to get the ball, but it'll stay with Detroit City. Thrown in down the line. Detroit City FC just hasn't had a spell of possession yet where they've been able to control the ball and play their soccer. Indy 11's doing a great job of keeping it out of their hands and really dictating the way this match has gone after 17 and a half minutes.
Well, they've been trying. They've been trying to play out of the back, but they've been largely down in their own goal, and they haven't had a lot of success doing it, advancing the ball that way. Indy's jumped on a couple of errant passes.
And that's been full credit to Indy 11 for the press they've been employing and the success they've had in doing so.
That was an early theme in their game against Aurora, but as the game wore on, they seemed to drop off. They weren't pressing so heavily. They were sort of sitting back. And, I mean, they were able to play more conservatively because they were sitting on a lead. No signs of that press dropping off yet so far, though.
I think the last couple of minutes, though, have been positive for Detroit City FC. I think they've been able to complete passes, more than they had in the first couple of minutes of the game, as this one's going to go the way of Indy 11 at about midfield. But since the goal, Indy 11 obviously able to play more confidently and maybe have to take less risks now that they're up 1-0 Brandon Kim's side. Champa just kind of muscled off of that one. I will say, Carson Cherry did not look too confident it was going to stay with her side, but line judge was fully confident in their decision, and now LaRouge looking to break forward. Emily Patrick tries to slip that one in. It's a great job by Jekyll to maintain possession over to Champa. Champa's going to play in Sophia Roman. We know her danger from distance. Lily Bosley into the area is going to throw a right foot at it and defended well by Barr. It's going to stay with Detroit City FC and Indy 11's half. So sort of more what we're used to from Detroit City FC in that last sequence of play right there. Good job to slip in. Bosley just goes off the feet of Barr and out for a throw-in. Sulis now playing the ball forward. Roman was making a darting run at the far post. It's onto it, it's in the back of the net! Emily Paget! She only needed half of a chance, and she finds the equalizer at Keyworth. It's 1-1.
It's really wonderful control to bring that ball down and hit it on the half volley. Found the corner. That's a laser.
We saw Emily Paget score from a similar position for the third goal on Friday. And here again, off the header, takes the touch and right foot pass it past Kate Phillips.
Kate Phillips had absolutely no chance at reaching that one. That is as clean as you can strike a ball right there.
And, you know, there's been a lot of discussion these last few weeks. Who were the Detroit City FC fans going to nominate as the 2024 Black Arrow? A lot of people, you know, a lot of names in for consideration, but Friday and Sunday, you got to step up in big moments, step up in big games. And so far, Emily Paget making a great case for this year's Black Arrow MVP award winner, which...
Well, and she's one who's been ever present in the side this year. She's been tasked with playing a number of different positions. We've seen her in the midfield. We've seen her in the forward line.
But Indy 11 now breaking the other way. That one's going to come in, and Mitchell puts it over the bar. Last few minutes have been end-to-end stuff here at Keyworth Stadium. The crowd kind of wakes up a little bit there. I think we got a lot of Emily Paget's family right below us in the press box here.
I do see a number of Paget shirts.
Yeah, so they got loud on that one. And that's exactly what Detroit City FC needed. Sometimes you just need something to go your way. It was an errant header by Indy 11. Paget threw a foot at it. Why not? You can't win the lottery. You don't buy a ticket. And it's 1-1 at Keyworth. We talked about, when Detroit City FC would have to start thinking about that plan B. I didn't see anything tactically that showed they were panicking or showed that they were under duress. And they go out, get the equalizing goal, and now all of a sudden it's a brand new game at Keyworth. A great flick over the head there. It's going to be well dealt with by Snyder, who kind of just threw a foot at it and said, "I'm just getting it out of here. We'll see you for Game 7."
Yeah, Detroit has not changed their plan at all so far. They're just executing a little bit better than they were in the early minutes of the game.
Part of me wonders if that's down. We talk about the experience that Indy 11 has in these cup finals and these big moments, and we mentioned sort of the lack of that on the Detroit City FC side. And I wonder if those first few minutes, they didn't look confident. They looked maybe a little bit uncomfortable with how big of a game this was, the weight of it. And I think they just settled into that, after the Indy 11 goal and then the few minutes after. See it coming together there. The line judge, after a little bit of a hesitation, is going to call is that an offside?
Looks like an offside.
Okay. I saw the flag going one way. We'll see it again here. That's as sweet as they come from Emily Paget. Detroit City FC playing out of the back, trying to play in Romine. Gives it away there. Indy 11 now looking to break forward. Miles Sulis is going to have some defending to do. Well kept in, but into the hands of Shriver. They're going to say that one went out for a goal kick regardless. So lucky for Shriver, the ball's already in her hand. I think one thing LaRouge has to do is get Sophia Romine more involved in the game and give her the ball in a space where she can do what we know she does best.
Well, she's probably one of the most effective players in this Detroit City roster at linking the play together, bringing other players into the attack with her. She's got very quick feet, very good passer of the ball. They really need to get her more involved so they can work the ball up the field.
Indy 11 really good in the transitional phase of play so far, working it into the midfield and getting up to their strikers. Maybe the one thing that Detroit City FC has lacked just far, we mentioned the effectiveness of Sophia Romine. We saw a little glimpse of it right there, winning the ball back on the turn, just unable to complete the next pass. Played into the wild west of the box, and Shriver just picks it up in her hands and slows things down just a little bit. Beautiful atmosphere here at Keyworth Stadium, always amplified by the fact that we got trains on top of trains going around here right behind the Keyworth wall. As we see Champa now play a ball up into the air. You see that train going by, but Sophia Romine receives the ball in some space now. Plays it over to Lily Bosley edge of the area. Bosley plays it back inside, but Jekyll unable to get a touch on it, and it goes out for an Indy 11 goal kick. Talking about what Detroit City FC wants to do, how they've done it so far all season. That's we've seen that multiple times, and it's the first time we've seen it today. Almost comes off right there in the crowd at Keyworth, giving some love to the train heading by along that back wall right there.
Well, Lily Bosley's playing in the defensive midfield today, but as the ball gets towards the other team's box, we've seen it time and time again this season. She pops up on that wide end of the box, and is just nobody tracks that run from the defensive midfield all the way up there. Yet another, that's how the first goal was scored on Friday, and we see another example of it there.
Murphy. Good triangle there from Detroit City FC, creating space further up the pitch. Martin's going to try to play in Champa, who's been a very fluid attacker so far. She's listed as playing up top with Jekyll, but we've seen her all over the pitch in the first 25 minutes of action so far.
Well, she did play in the midfield on Friday. She moved up to the forward line today, but she's really a player who covers a lot of ground. She's very comfortable dropping back into the midfield if needed to get on the ball. So Jekyll is playing a little bit higher than her. She's dropping in deeper.
Indy 11 into the area. That one's going to skip off of Childers and for an Indy 11 corner. Last 7-8 minutes since the goal, it really has been the best phase of play so far for Detroit City FC. We start to wonder when the heat might play a factor, when the sun might play a factor. It's hot up here in the press box, even hotter down there on the turf.
I'm sure it will play a factor as this game wears on. It is pretty hot out there in the sunlight. Both teams have pretty strong benches today, so they will not hesitate to go to the bench if they need to.
Indy 11 have come close on a couple corner of occasions so far. Shriver, though, confidently takes that one.
And really those subs in the second half, I thought, turned the tide of both games on Friday, both for Indy and for Detroit in their victories on Friday. So,
and I talked to Dave Dwayhe after the match, and he agreed the 3-0 scoreline was sort of, it wasn't a reflection of the way the game went. River Light did a great job, coming over, driving up the day of. It was tighter than 3-0 for sure. Detroit City FC just got the chances, and they capitalized on them when they came to them. That one's played out, so it'll be a throw-in for Indy. Snyder. That is yeah. Gonna play that one out. Great turn by Champa as well to keep it with Detroit City FC. Romine now has numbers just a little bit, just lackadaisical there from Romine, who I think had Paget on this near side, just couldn't find her and tried to go for the long switch.
Ella Offer was trying to streak up that left sideline. I think if Romine had waited just another second or two, she would have had a even further pass that she could have made to Offer on the left side.
That one's up into some space for a Shriver goal kick. Crowd kind of making Soderstrom aware of the mistake that she made. Coming up about 2 minutes here, we'll see our first hydration break of the match. 30th minute, first stoppage and play after that. Give us some time to hydrate ourselves up here. Maybe you guys at home got a glass of water, ice in it. Take a sip and stay hydrated. Unkraut now on the ball. Playing all the way back to the back line. It's going to be Carson Cherry. Champa applying some pressure. Back with Indy 11. Paget trying to get a foot in there, just unable to. Credit to Indy 11 in the way they've managed it so far, but this is probably the least involved Sophia Romine's been in a match all season. Martin's going to play it back to Shriver pretty calmly. And then over to Murphy. Murphy over to Martin. Good step and touch inside by Martin. Play it back to Murphy, who kind of just has to clear it out of the danger zone there. Good catch there by that fan. It's impressive. And then, yeah, come on. Coach Dwayhe's got to do a little bit better on that.
That's why he plays a sport with his feet.
He's still a great player. He really is. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's such a great shot by our camera ops up there. It's a great catch by that guy. Into the hands of Shriver. He's just going to calmly roll it out to Ella Offer, who has some space in front of her. Going to trust that Champa can win the foot race here. Don't think she will do so, as Soderstrom was well to see it coming. Paget looking to win another ball off of a failed Indy 11 clearance, but well done there by Ella Rogers to maintain possession. Detroit City FC just amping things up just a little bit as we approach the 30th minute. You got to imagine the next stoppage in play will bring us to that first water break. Brandon Kim requesting more of his squad, and Indy 11, you kind of just feel like the danger they have, the threat they possess up top, they're always one or two passes away from being through on goal. Murphy scored the opening goal against AFC Ann Arbor in Detroit City FC's final match of the USL W League regular season last Sunday, a week ago from today. Was named the woman of the match for her efforts in that one. Not only scored a goal, but kept a clean sheet. Romine nearly played in some space there, just not able to get on the end of it. And the 11 looking to switch the play. Really good positioning there by Barr, That one goes over Murphy. Murphy does well to get back to it. Shriver's going to come off her line to get a touch onto the ball and see it out of play. I was told there was going to be a 30-minute hydration break.
As we get a look on the replay, just some confusion among the Detroit City back line on who exactly was dealing with that ball. It's skated through, and Shriver got the foot on it in the end.
Maybe the hydration break will come the next time they're on this side of the field. That one's thrown in. Offer having to come back out wide to do some defending, but Champa's trying to win the ball back and spring her side forward. Really good physical battle on the far side touchline. Kate Childers cleanly wins the ball back for Detroit City. Has Jekyll up, but again, Detroit City FC, I'm not too convinced by them when they try to play direct. Good step in there by Murphy. It's going to go out for an Indy 11 throw-in.
Yeah, Indy's back line has really been able to deal with almost every time Detroit has tried to play direct. But on the other end, Detroit hasn't had a lot of success building out when they're deep in their own half. They really need to find a way to get that central midfield more involved and on the ball. That's when they've been able to progress the ball from the defensive line into the center midfield. Then they're able to really move the ball forward. But they're struggling to get from that defensive line to the center midfield with the way Indy is marking right now.
So into the first half hydration break here at Keyworth Stadium with the score knotted up at 1-1. Sean, which of the two huddles would be happy with where they're at right now?
Oh, I think they're probably about the same right now. It is a tied game. They'll just be discussing exactly small tweaks they need to make. I think Indy's probably pretty happy with how they're performing. For the most part, they've had the better of the chances, but Detroit has done well these last couple of minutes. They've worked into the game as it's gone on, so they probably won't want to change too much either, as they feel they've been getting stronger just by sticking to the plan they're on.
Yeah, you mentioned like once the first couple minutes came and it kind of settled things down just a little bit. Detroit City FC grew into the game, especially the goal helps a lot too. But they've been playing more confident. They've been playing more on the front foot. Just really got to get Sophia Romine involved. I feel like it's the last key for them to unlock. You see Lily Jekyll there, Aubrey Champa, just call them talented young players. That doesn't do enough. I mean, they're incredible. I
see Kayla Addison down there giving some instructions to the young attackers. Of course, Kayla Addison started in the game on Friday. You'd have to bet we'll see her at some point tonight. Very experienced attacker. And the two forwards for Detroit right now, of course, both still in high school, have not played any college soccer yet. Kayla Addison, a much older, more experienced player, just giving some pointers from what she sees. And it's very invaluable to have that sort of experience.
Yeah, and we're seeing coaching being done down there by Danny Evans, who, of course, was the head coach for the PASL indoor squad. For those unaware, Detroit City FC. Group of the players, the more experienced players on the squad, came to the club and said, hey, we play indoor in the winter, would love to do this for Detroit City FC. The league, the PASL, was founded. 6 home matches at the Detroit City Fieldhouse, sold out every single one of them, and Danny Evans right there led that team to the playoffs where they lost in the national semifinal to Snohomish Sky out of Washington. So, she has been a great addition to this coaching staff, was on it last year, and really got a lot out of that team. And we see a lot of the same elements carry over from that team into this team. Of course, the familiarity of playing with each other, but some of the turns Kayla Addison does, saw some on Friday, she does on the pitch, and you're like, we saw that indoors at the Fieldhouse in January. So it's cool to see those things carry over.
Well, it's very good. It's been a very good way for the players to stay in shape, and not just physically in shape, but sharp with their touches on the ball. The way the boards are really forces a lot of really quick play, one touch, two touch, so it sharpens those sort of skills for the players too.
Back underway from the water break. It was a water break, but it was also a put a cold towel on your forehead break, it looked like from up here as we get back underway, which I don't blame them.
I might use halftime for that myself.
Got to get a live shot of that. Throwing down the line, going to stay with Indy 11. Maya Stulis doing some defending on the far side. That one's going to be poked in and poked out for a Gabby Shriver goal kick. Ten minutes coming up on the half, plus stoppage time, of course, from Keyworth Stadium. I imagine be at least 2 minutes with the hydration break. Not been a lot of fouls. The ball's been in play for most of it so far. I can't even think of more than a couple fouls. It was the referee's drop ball was probably the longest stoppage we've had aside from the water break. Murphy looking for options up the field. Goes all the way to Indy 11. Paget standing tall there, trying to win it off of Ella Rogers, but Rogers does great to play it out wide. The Soderstrom. Susan on that occasion. Good turn and touch here from Indy 11, but it's poked away brilliantly by Acadia Murphy, and it needed to be. Indy 11 now, edge of the area, plays the ball into a dangerous position. Whitsett's going to have to try to get onto it, but she sees it run out of play for a goal kick. play immediately started back again by Detroit City FC through Gabby Shriver over to Murphy. Into the midfield now is Bosley. The Indy 11 midfield's doing a great job of containing not just Romine, which we've been discussing as well, but Bosley hasn't had many touches on the ball. And that one's going to cannon off an Indy 11 player for a corner. So a great job there by Lily Jekyll to create something out of nothing, and she'll be hoping to be involved in the creation of perhaps the Detroit City FC goal.
That was one of the first times all game where I've seen a pass go directly from the center backs into the center midfield, and you saw how quickly they were able to advance the ball once they broke that Indy first line of defense.
So Romine now the deputized corner taker. Play that one into the area, goes over everybody and took a bounce off an Indy 11 head and will be about as deep of a throw-in as you can have without it being a corner kick. Photographer laying on the ground over there. That's impressive. That's got to be a hot floor down there. Offer's going to be taking this throw-in. Throws it into Jekyll. Jekyll on the turn, gets it back to Offer. It's going to be poked out again for a Detroit City FC throw-in. Just a couple yards more to the left. And that one's cleared out for an offside. Is that what that? I guess. All right, so it's going to go back the way of Indy 11.
Does look like the assistant's flag is raised, so must be offside.
Sort of a lull of a game since the water break, sort of the slowest moment we've seen so far that both teams, I don't know if it was coached to let's get into halftime, have a conversation, or if both teams are at the point in the game form-wise where they're figured each other out and able how to neutralize what other teams are doing dangerously. Paget almost gets on the end of that free kick. It's going to go back to Detroit City FC at about midfield. Thrown in. Jekyll takes a touchdown. Back to goal. Nearly spun out of some danger there. Goes back to ground to try to win it back. Referee's going to blow the whistle there against Childers. Good Golden Gopher contingent on this Detroit City FC women's side. Of course, Childers, Romine made some interesting conversations with some of the folks from Minnesota Aurora. Just, you know, they're there to see their team, but also see some Golden Gophers take the field for Detroit City. Bosley does well to settle that one down into the path of Paget. Paget has numbers up with her. She has Romine to her left, just unable to get it over to her. There's some shade now. Comes over the pitch. That'll be a welcome moment of shade for the players down there. Just unable to get to that one. And we're seeing some touches, some passes that feel like they're the cause of fatigue. And I think a moment like this right here from Paget's a good example of that. Just kind of forgot where she was going with it, and it goes out back to Indy, and then Indy has one a couple seconds later. Yeah,
she knew there were two defenders there. She knew there was one ahead of her and one to her right shoulder, but didn't realize the one was coming in on her left shoulder also, and that's a testament to Indy, the amount of players they're able to get around the ball, and that's why Detroit's having trouble working it around right now.
Yeah, and so far it's been the story for Detroit City FC has kind of been errant passes. We've seen Drew Barton fail to connect with Paget on a couple of occasions. We've seen Romine struggle to find the forwards when going forward on a few occasions. So they got to tighten that up for sure if they want to have success in the rest of this first half and in the second half. But Indy 11's passing's been pretty spot on in the first 40 minutes of today's contest. Play back across. Poked all the way through. That's a great little passage to play from Indy 11. That shot's going to come in. And from the depth perception perspective, that one might have looked in from Mitchell again, looking dangerous, but it's beyond the near post of Shriver and over into the sweet section.
So well-struck ball. Certainly everybody's heart skipped a little beat when it left her foot. Just wide. I think Shriver probably had it covered if it was inside the post, but
depth perception's a tricky thing, especially from up here in the Keyworth Stadium press box. Creeping up on the 45th minute mark from Keyworth Stadium here. Jarrett Mackey alongside Sean Grogan. Champa now on the ball. Plays the right-footed ball all the way across to Bosley. Bosley will have Paget making the run up with her. Tries to slip it into Paget. Emily Paget back over to Bosley in a position to whip it in. Elects to go inside on the left foot. Just unable to skip past the defender there was Champa, but great step up from Murphy from the defense to step into the midfield to stay it with Detroit City FC. Martin cuts inside. Playing across to Romine. We know her danger from outside of the area this season. First 3 games at Keyworth. Scored 3 equally as impressive goals from outside of the area for Le Rouge. Childers tried to play that one into the box. Indy 11 now look to break here with the goal scorer, Mitchell. Detroit City FC sort of stretched wide here. Romine unable to win it back. Mitchell's dribbling into some space, and eventually Romine goes to ground, but it's going to be out for an Indy 11 corner. And that shows you how quickly things can switch. Detroit City FC looks composed and structured on the end of Indy 11's area, and then seconds later, Indy 11 wins a corner.
Yeah, Romine really got caught out there with the first step. She sort of dove in, looked like she got beat, but good speed, good perseverance to stick with the play, let the rest of her defense get set and get it out for the corner.
So Indy 11, their first corner would have caused some concern for Detroit City FC, and since then Le Rouge has done a good job of containing things. We see some crowded area around Shriver. The right-footed ball is going to be played in. Bosley unable to fully deal with it. The ball's free in front of the area, in front of the box, excuse me, in front of the net. I had three chances there to say where the ball was free in front of it. I messed up all 3 of them. I remember my first time calling a game. See that one whipped in. Yeah, just put it into that danger area once again. Shriver stayed at home this time, and Childers did well to muscle the Indy 11 player off the ball, and then Martin did a great job to make the step and play it out. Indy 11, these last few minutes since the water break, has really been back to their best, and Champa's going to play a ball over the top to Jekyll. Ooh, a collision of heads there between Phillips and Jekyll. I don't know if the keeper's allowed to do that, to come off and just clear the player out. If the referee calls the foul, that's got to be a red card to Kate Phillips. We'll have to see that one again, but that is a...
My first impression was Phillips got to the ball first.
But then she clears out Jekyll.
Phillips actually used her head to get to the ball.
Which is better than using her hands when you're out of the box. And it looks like it's just going to be a drop ball or a throw-in. But that's a heavy collision right there. Of course, she gets there first, but then it's the shoulder into the arm of Jekyll, which it's contact, and you could argue that it wasn't intentional, but yeah.
I was surprised that there was no foul called on that either way. With that sort of heavy contact, you would expect play to be stopped. That was a foul on one player or the other as they're both rushing at each other.
The issue with that is if you give the foul on the keeper, you also do have to give the red card. So it put the referee in a tough spot. I don't think there was any malicious intent there from Kate
certainly
Phillips.
not.
I just think it
she was coming out to win the ball.
And she got the ball. It's just the afterwards and allowing the I'm going to have Indy 11 fans on my case after that one. But I there's no malicious intent from Kate Phillips there. Just going for the ball. You it's a final. You got to go for stuff like that. Murphy inside. Over to Romine. Romine on the touchline. We see her. This is one of the strongest positions she operates from in receiving the ball on the touchline. Jekyll lays it back off to Romine. Romine has Offer out wide if she can find her. A great job to play Yanela Offer. Offer a right-footed ball across. Romine arriving at the far post. It's 2-1 Detroit City FC.
And that was the first time we've really seen Romine get that involved in the play. Really nice give and go with Jekyll to spring that attack and then find Ella Offer out wide. And you can see what it means when she does get involved in the play like that.
We've been saying it all game that Detroit City FC has to find a way to get Sophia Romine involved. It was a great start of the play by Romine, all the way out to Offer. Offer with a dangerous cutback back inside, and Sophia Romine of Romeo, Michigan makes it 2-1 Detroit City FC.
Just saw 4 minutes go up from the fourth official, so there will be 4 minutes at least of added time.
So into 4 minutes of added time here at Keyworth Stadium, Detroit City FC up 2-1 via Sophia Romine. And that was a well-worked goal. The one with Emily Paget was a great finish, a great strike. But the way that Detroit City FC has wanted to play all season, that right there is a perfect what's the word I'm looking for, Sean?
That was the best team moment I think we've seen out of the team this game
either
so
side.
far.
I would argue either side. That was a great bit of play there by Detroit City FC. We'll see it again here. Just an excellent ball across by Offer.
And
Paget playing the dummy run right there. Jekyll, it could be argued, was maybe putting the keeper off a little bit. But Sophia Romine, it fell to her. She put her foot through it, and it gives Detroit City FC the lead.
And Romine actually touched the ball 3 times in that sequence. She was the one who started it, got the give and go back to herself, found Offer, and then continued her run all the way up to the goal to finish the ball from point blank.
Indy 11 now looking to get an equalizer before the sides go into the locker room. Dribbling into the area. Offer has some defending to do. It's Romine. And right after that goal, that little burst of speed right there from Romine in the area, it looks like it woke her up a little bit, and she's full bore now after getting that goal. A turnover there, though, from Detroit City FC. Done well to just clear it out of danger by the back line, and Champa applying some pressure. It's going to be played all the way back across as Indy 11 look to exploit the wide positions. A well-worked ball there inside. Some contact. Referee says it was all above board, and Champa tries to settle things down and does well to get back to the ball. The referee's going to stop and blow the whistle. The play was on, but I don't think Detroit City FC is going to hate the stoppage of play right there.
Now, at this point, when you just took the lead just before halftime, really all you're looking to do is carry that lead into halftime. So they'll be happy to slow down the play here.
Three minutes into the 4 minutes of stoppage time. Not much left in this first half of action from Keyworth Stadium. It started with an early goal from Indy 11 as Kate Childers has some work to do. A great job to shield the defender off of the ball there. In this case, it was an attacker. It was Natalie Mitchell. Sulis now not being pressed too much, able to meander up from the center back position. Inside to Romine. Romine puts it through the legs and maintains possession. Has Martin on this near side, only about 10 seconds left in first half stoppage time. We'll see what the referee adds on here as Martin cuts it inside. Martin plays the ball in. Bosley and Jekyll were both jonesing for it, but it goes out for a goal kick. And that'll do it for the first half of action here from Keyworth Stadium. Detroit City FC fell behind early, and then it was 2 inspired moments to take the lead before the half. Sean, how have you seen the first 45 minutes so far?
Well, they did not start all that well. It looked like all Indy from the first moment, but as the half wore on, Detroit really found their footing. They were able to come back, score 2 goals. This game is far from over yet, though. Indy is still pressing pretty heavily. They've created a number of chances for themselves, but at the moment, Detroit very happy with how this half has gone.
Detroit City FC, of course, they started things off with the conceding the early goal. They had to grow into the game, grow into the moment, grow into the situation. They did just that, and now 2-1 up at the half. A lot of soccer to be played still, 45 plus what could be a couple extra time and all that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the second half of action at Keyworth Stadium in about 15 minutes. Hello and welcome back inside of Keyworth Stadium. We're just moments away from the second half kickoff in the 2024 USLW League Central Conference Final between Indy 11 and Detroit City FC. Detroit City FC fell behind early in the first half, but did well to rally, kind of grow into the game a little bit. They got an equalizer from Emily Paget, and then it was Sophia Romine that stepped up when called upon and capped off an incredible team move to make it 2-1 at Keyworth.
So we get another look at that goal. Romine plays the ball out wide
and
to Ella Offer.
It was a great chance by Soderstrom to try to get a foot in there, but then Romine, she made the run. She kind of delayed her run into the area, not to be picked up by the Indy 11 defense, and then steps up, first-time finish into that top corner. With how talented she is, that's her first goal inside of the box here at Keyworth. So, yeah, that's the kind of play you want, waving to some family and friends up in the crowd. And I know there's a large contingent here from Romeo. The Chris Mills family out here as well. Those does red hat for us on game day, texted me. He goes, Sophia Romine playing with the women's team this year? I go, yeah. He didn't tell me how good of a player she was, how dynamic she can be on the ball, and she's been worth the price of admission every time she's been on the pitch here at Keyworth Stadium. So getting ready for the second half. Indy 11's going to have to do some work. I think they would have been happy with the way that first half went. Brandon Kim and his coaching staff, the way that they managed that first half, and then just, I don't know how you can defend that Emily Paget rocket of a strike, and then that team move that led to Sophia Romine's goal. It was well worked. There was a chance to stop it by Susan Soderstrom, but it wasn't able to be stopped as Shriver's given the final team talk here. She'll know she has the experience, she has the quality, to lead these team talks, lead these moments. Coach Dwayhe and his staff, second-year head coach for Detroit City FC, David Dwayhe, aggregate record as head coach of 16-5-4. Original co-founder of Detroit City FC, has worn many hats for the club, including playing for a few seasons as well. Coaches at the University of Liggett School. He's also a math teacher. So, yeah, one of the most wonderful human beings you'd ever meet, David Dwayhe, and it's great to see him having success this season. Referee's a little bit annoyed, I would imagine, with how long LaRouge is taking in their huddle right here. Eventually break out of it and get over to their positions. Out of the huddles now, 45 minutes still here at Keyworth Stadium. Detroit City FC up 2-1. Emily Paget, Western Michigan University Broncos, scored the equalizer before Sophia Romine capped off an incredible, confident, flowing team move to give Detroit City FC the 2-1 lead.
Well, I haven't seen any sign of subs at half from either side, which is an indicator that both teams probably sticking to the plan from the first half. We have seen halftime subs at Keyworth several times this year, but not today.
Childers now playing it back to Sulis, so a familiar back line with everybody operating. Played forward down the line by Sulis. I wonder what both teams would have switched up tactically at the half. I think, like I said, I think Brandon Kim would have been happy with the way things were going. If anything, Detroit City FC just has to focus on nailing those passes and making them a little bit more intentional than they were in the first half, as Indy 11 looks to immediately get back on level terms. Played across in some dangerous position. Shriver, it's deflected and not fully cleared away by Detroit City FC, but eventually Drew Martin throws a foot up at it.
Well, from Detroit's perspective, we talked about it all first half, the need to get Sophia Romine involved in the game. We saw what happened when she finally was able to work a movement for herself at the end of the second half. They need to find ways in the second half to continue to get her involved just like that.
We actually, I think we do have a substitution for Indy 11. That was Elizabeth Sexton that played that ball running into some danger. I looked up and said that's a dangerous ball over by Sexton. There she is, number 14 in the middle of the park. So a substitute there. Not sure who she has replaced just yet, but certainly a change for the visitors. Indy 11 now with a throw-in. Champa now On the turn, Ciampa, I think there's a few passes that she would have wanted back in that first half, so maybe a little bit more sharpness out of Ciampa will unlock a whole new dynamic for this Detroit City FC attack. I'm not seeing Soderstrom out there, Susan Soderstrom, so I believe that could have been 25 off for 14 on. She was playing in sort of that right back role in that first half, and now it looks like Sexton's occupying that position as Romine now on the ball in the midfield, plays it over to Bosley. Willie Bosley throws her right foot at it, over to find Offer on the near side now. Ella Offord as well to keep it in play, has options in the box and outside of it. Offer over to the touchline, it's going to be muscled off the ball and back into the feet of the Indy 11 back line. Good job there by Detroit City FC to get possession back. That was Emily Paget doing some hard work on the near side, but Childers gives it away in a moment of weakness here. Bosley has some defending to do. It takes a touch off of Bosley's legs and all the way back to Maya Sulis. All the way back to Shriver. Shriver out wide to Martin. Childers again just caught on the ball a little bit too long there. That's how we saw Indy score their first goal, and a foul is going to go the way against Paget on that occasion.
It looked like they got their arms wrapped around each other, but the Indy player was going to be first to the ball, so foul goes against Detroit. It's probably the right call. It is difficult when players get tangled up like that. Both players have a little bit of a case that the other player impeded them.
Left-footed ball played into the area. Murphy's up to head it away. Paget tries to flick it over to Ciampa. Ciampa's going to get onto this one. Has Jekyll making a run up with her, so it's going to be Jekyll running in behind, but a really good and crucial interception there by Jenna Chatterton, who also came on in the second half here for Indy 11, and Jekyll's pressure there earns a corner for Detroit City FC.
Well, I don't think that's what Chatterton will have wanted to do with the ball. She was looking for her goalkeeper, and it ended up going nowhere near her and out for a corner.
So corner now coming in, played into the box, people queuing up for it, headed away, only as far as Ciampa though. Offer's going to get up to win this header. It's going to stay with Indy 11 for the time being before Drew Martin throws a right foot at it. Not the most convincing header of all time out by Indy 11. Romine's going to run over to pick up the throw-in and just quickly get this one taken care of into Offer. Few options for Offer to pass in the midfield. Elects to go all the way back to Maya Sulis, the Ohio Bobcat. Shriver back over to Sulis, who has options running forward from her. Eventually slips in Offer, but it just takes a skip off the turf and out of play. Indy 11 now, cleared out by Murphy. Paget's going to be able to get onto this one in turn with some clever defending there out of Katie Soderstrom in the middle of the park. So one of the Soderstrom stays on in the second half of action here at Keyworth. Jekyll back to goal, going to be running in behind on this one. It'll be tough to beat Grace Barr out to it. Barr calmly lays it off to the other side of the pitch, the touchline, but Jekyll kind of wins the battle there for the time being. It's going to go out for a Detroit City FC throw-in. So, you know, Jekyll's great running in behind, great in the middle of the park when she can kind of shift her feet, but she's not afraid to do the dirty work required to win throw-ins in certain areas of the pitch. Referee's going to say that one went against Jekyll on that occasion. Fans showing up here at Keyworth, a 4-day notice to get these tickets and to support this squad. Of course, there was no guarantee of a Sunday game for Detroit City FC. It easily could have been Minnesota Aurora versus Riverlight or Minnesota Aurora versus Detroit City, but they defeated Riverlight. Now they're through today's game and looking to take advantage of a 2-1 lead as Indy 11 looks to fashion a shot outside of the area. Cut back inside, played all the way over across to Soderstrom. Soderstrom cuts back onto her left. There's a crucial interception there by Maya Sulis. I think Shriver would have had it covered, but Sulis did well to get onto it. Now Romine has some defensive work to do. Great shuffle of the feet there from Romine, putting the Indy 11 attacker off, and Ciampa's going to take a touch inside. Not the sharpest we've seen Ciampa all season so far, 52 minutes into today's contest. Trailer's applying some deep pressure in the midfield. Indy 11 now working the ball forward with Rogers. Soderstrom out wide. Ella Offer comes out to do some defending. Poked up and into the air by Bosley. Roman settles it down with a header. Ciampa plays it over across to Paget, but just maybe a little bit too much on it. Chester forced out wide by Paget. Skips around Paget. Steps up was Drew Martin. A great job there by Drew Martin to win it back for Detroit City as Lily Bosley tries to immediately play in. Ciampa just unable to control it. And then Ciampa goes to ground and takes out the Indy 11 player.
Well, she did get a touch on the ball there, but it was from behind enough that referee felt the need to blow the whistle as we get another look at it. Yeah, she caught a lot of leg there on her way to get the ball.
Ciampa just not really as sharp as we've seen her in other appearances for Detroit City FC this season. Played a good amount of the game on Friday, and again, just kind of looked a little bit off the pace. She's shown flashes of quality, just nothing consistent over these matches to really have made an impact so far.
She still is very young, and the fact that she's even able to be out here and competing at the level she has is pretty impressive. You will see mistakes out of young players, but...
Barr plays in the left-footed effort, calmly into the hands of Gabby Shriver. That would have not alarmed her, just kind of waited. She made the jump and then just waited for it to come into her hands there. Yeah, jump a little bit. Not even a big jump from Shriver there. No dive needed. Jekyll sees this one bounce off the turf in front of her. Jekyll's up for the header. Good poke away there by Ella Rogers. Got to definitely get her more involved in this second half. If you're Indy 11 and Brandon Kim. A great skip around the defenders there, attackers, excuse me, by Drew Martin.
Yeah, certainly. Ella Rogers, the sort of player who's getting league recognition. For last month, she was in the first 11 for the entire nation. She really is sort of similar to Sophia Romine on the Detroit side, where she is the heartbeat in the center of the midfield. They need to get her involved.
And yeah, you mentioned Ella Rogers being named in the Team of the Month for June, as well as Ella Offer on the Detroit City FC side. So not sure if there was an Ella contingent that the W League needed to reach.
Yeah, it's a strong voting block of Ellas.
Ella Rogers now on the ball. Plays it her teammate. Some defending to do here from Maya Sulis and Detroit City FC. Out wide to the introduced Sexton. Sexton's going to play it across the area. Headed back into no one and out for a Detroit City FC goal kick. But we mentioned a couple shots across the bow from Indy 11. Obviously the goal in the first half, but a few after. Another dangerous chance there from the visitors.
Yeah, Indy seems to be able to progress the ball to the top of the box, and then when they're at the top of the box, they're able to work the ball around, and that's a little bit unnerving from Detroit's perspective. It's very hard to defend in that area of the field for the entirety of the second half. Detroit needs to find a way to keep the ball out of that area and get pressure on the ball when Indy is moving it around in there.
It's going to go off of an Indy 11 player last. It'll be a Detroit City FC throw-in, taken quickly by Ciampa, I think to the surprise of her teammates. But Ciampa steps well to get back to it. Jekyll's going to keep it in play on the near side touchline. Jekyll's going to come out of that danger with the ball. So Lily Jekyll now in some space. Had me fooled with that cutback right there, which isn't hard to do. The left-footed ball is going to come into the area. Romine was there for the header. And it'll be out for a goal kick. I saw Lily Bosley kind of switch off of that. I thought she maybe could have kept that one in if she wanted to. We've seen, and even got the cameraman with that little cutback stutter step right there from Lily Jekyll. Many a cameraman have been put off by Lily Jekyll's skill on the ball. See the person that separates the two sides right now, Sophia Romine right there. A really, really impressive move there by Soderstrom to create space up the pitch. Gets by Offer. Whitsett's going to play that one across. That one's bouncing around the area, unable to clear it, but eventually Detroit City FC benefits from a couple of scuffed shots and gets it out, but only as far as Indy 11, and now it'll go out for an Indy 11 throw-in deep in the Detroit City FC half. We'll see it again here. A really dangerous ball across. Sulis unable to deal with it. And, yeah, that missed kick there from Mitchell, it's going to be a sigh of relief for Detroit City FC. That was a tight one.
Yeah, if she strikes that on goal, you have to think we're looking at a 2-2 game. She really had no pressure on the ball.
One of those
just
snap chances
yeah.
that just falls to you, and you got to do something now or never. I'm sure the turf didn't help too much out with that. Of course, Detroit City FC Indy 11 a matchup we usually see in the USL Championship. Of course, on March 30th, it was Detroit City FC that defeated Indy 11 on the road 2-1, courtesy of goals from Ali Coote and Maxi Rodriguez. It was a late winner by Rodriguez.
Very dangerous spot. Oh, as we see the yellow card come out.
You get the yellow card to Kate Childers. We'll see it again here. That's, I mean, that's.
It's clearly a foul. She tripped
Yeah.
the Indy attacker. Unfortunately for Detroit, this is an extremely dangerous position to give up this free kick in.
Yeah, anyone could take this one. Right now, currently, it's Grace Barr and Soderstrom standing over it. We saw these two sort of decide who was going to take them against Minnesota, but they never had one from this dangerous of a position.
The real danger is because one player can take it with the right foot and the other can take it with the left, so you're not sure which way it's going to come curling in from Gabby Shriver's perspective in goal. She doesn't really know which way she's going to have to dive.
Looks like she's setting up the wall to her left. Keeper's left, camera right. It's a great shot of this right here. Barr's going to looks like she's going to play this one. Barr's going to go under the wall. And just like, while we're aware that Shriver didn't know which way to go, Barr tried to take advantage of that mental game and play it to the left of the wall calmly, but I think there was just not enough speed on it to put Shriver out of business.
Yeah, in the end, that was sort of another scuffed opportunity for Indy 11. She will definitely have been hoping to get a better strike on the ball than that.
Bosley pops it up into some space for Paget to get onto it. Childers now on a yellow card. Great job to slip in Champa. Paget just unable to corral it, and Soderstrom able to get it back for Indy 11. Sexton. Indy playing it across the back line with some confidence, but turned over here. Lily Jekyll, you talk about a scuffed shot. That was one right there. If she would have waited a second, perhaps she could have slipped in Romine, who was making the run beyond her right shoulder.
Thought that was a situation where she could have shown a little bit more patience as Romine was trying to make a run around her outside. She sort of reached for the shot, ended up slipping a little bit, I think.
Certainly went to turf there, and when we kind of talk about Indy 11 having that experience of playing in these knockout games, these must-win, go or go home games, I think a moment like that's a great highlight of it, whereas maybe a little bit more patience, a player slip through on goal and you get a real quality chance on target. But it'll stay with Detroit City FC at about midfield.
See some sub-activity on the Detroit bench.
We'll see. Looks like it's going to be two forwards that are going to get ready to come into the action for Detroit City. But before that, takes place Lily Jekyll as well to win the ball back and tries to slip in Champa. The cohesion hasn't been there for Detroit City FC between Champa and Jekyll all afternoon so far. And that might be one of the last actions we see of that strike partnership, as I see two strikers getting ready for Detroit City FC down on the near side touchline. Champa, though, it's not been for a lack of effort. She's been everywhere. She's been pressing, being a pest to that Indy 11 back line. Just really hasn't had the quality of the touches or the passes so far. 61 minutes gone here at Keyworth. But no doubt the quality that she has and what she brings to this team. 4 substitutes looking down the barrel for Detroit City FC now. And 3 of them, we talked earlier about the PASL season, 3 of those players took part in that PASL campaign. So Dave Dwayne and the staff not afraid to roll the dice here. 60 minutes into the game, we saw how important substitutes were on Friday, and we wonder if they'll have that same impact here, as Emily Paget's going to latch onto this one, and Detroit City FC is going to maintain it through Jekyll.
Sub looks ready on the Indy side also, so we may get 5 substitutions all at once.
Spoiled for choice. Childers tried to slip it in field to Paget. Sulis played forward. Jekyll settles things down well. Clever turn from her, and then turn back once again. Is going to win the foul. Chatterton, the guilty party on that occasion. A double turn here from Jekyll. Referee's going to say there was handball, I believe.
Yeah, Ciampa had to reach up to get the ball, and unfortunately, trying to control the ball down, she popped it back into her own arm.
See the substitutes coming on now. The Indy 11 substitute tried to go first, which there was 4 Detroit City FC substitutes. I guess they're all going to happen at once.
It is Emily Derry coming on for Indy.
So wow, a lot of this team for Detroit City FC just changed. We see Hannah Crum, Kayla Addison, Joyelle Washington, and Danny Steffen all entering the match for Kate Childers,
Emily Paget,
Ciampa, and Lily Jekyll. So the entire look of this Detroit City FC team just changed. Sometimes you worry about, managers maybe changing too much and all at once. I'm keeping an eye on that because I thought Detroit City FC was playing well. Maybe the Heat, they're looking for a little bit more energy and conviction out of their forwards.
Well, I think from Detroit's perspective, the pace that they were able to play at had just dropped off. There were some worrying moments where Indy had the ball in and around their box, scuffed some chances. Ooh, as we see another opportunity fall for Indy 11, curled just past the post. But from David Dwayhe's perspective, he will have seen that the play was shifting towards the Detroit goal, and he felt the need to get a lot of fresh legs on.
That was a shot by Sexton right there. And that shot had a lot of similarity to the shot that gave Indy 11 the early lead, this time from Sexton. On that time, it was Mitchell. And we kind of had to look around the post of the press box to see where that one was bending, and it hit the Ideal Group banner just to the keeper's right of Gabby Shriver's frame. Of course, Sophia Romine, really the only player that was able to survive out there from the substitute list. Of course, she was not involved on Friday, so she's probably good to play 90 and a couple extra if we needed Sophia, if Dave Dwayhe needed her to do so. Addison settles things down, does well to get it back to Hannah Crum. Hannah Crum sort of been the unsung hero for this team this year. Her and Tefend as well, who's also on the bench. We could see her later in this one as the match wears on. Danny Steffen, a veteran, one of the most tenured players from Michigan State University. That one come in. Kayla Addison was looking at the near post.
That's another thing Dave Dwayhe will have looked at when he was deciding who to sub on. He brought in a number of really experienced players, and he subbed some younger players off. So you got to think as this game wears on and you're looking to manage the game, he sees value in the experience that these players bring to the field.
Joyelle Washington tried to slip it over across to Romine. It'll take a touch off an Indy 11 player last and go out for a Detroit City FC throw-in as we creep up on the 65th minute of action here at Keyworth. Offer. Throws it in. Back to goal was Washington. Threw a foot up at it. It'll stay with Detroit City FC on this end of the pitch. Tussle there. It'll go against Indy 11. It'll be a free kick for Detroit City. I almost said Hannah Crum. She is a free kick specialist, but not really from this position, in a position where she can shoot it and kind of attack the goal. Not going to see that one here based on the angle of it. Ella Offer and Sophia Romine standing over it.
Probably not, but we did see a shot from this angle on the other side of the field be converted for a goal on Friday out of Minnesota Aurora. So never say never.
That was Duong for Minnesota. So maybe Detroit City FC staff would have seen that one, but see if Ella Offer has that in her locker. She also had Sophia Romine's lurking in acres of space right here. I wonder if we see that.
Looks like a good option to me.
It's going to fall to Hannah Crum, who has the liberty to see that one go out of play. Sophia Romine was in acres of space, though. That's kind of her zone. Left-footed ball is going to come into the area. Crossed in. Romine was up for the header. Washington tried to get a foot up at it. Is not able to corral the touch. And now Indy 11 breaks the other way. Whitset plays it back inside to Rogers. Pressure here from Sophia Romine, Detroit City FC. Goes back to Steffen, and Sulis now on the ball. Playing it back all the way inside to Bosley. Good first touch by Bosley to take it away from the Indy 11 midfield. Martin on the far side now looking to burst forward. Detroit City FC will lack some some dynamism going forward now that they made those subs. Romine spreads it out wide to Crum. Hannah Crum inside to Bosley. Bosley over to Steffen. Steffen inside to Offer. Offer keeps it in, tries to play the ball across. It's piped up into the air. Through Indy 11 now. Bosley has some ground to make up, but a errand touch off of Mitchell. It actually worked out for Indy 11 off the back heel there. Defending in the far corner there by Sulis. It's going to go the way of Detroit City FC, to the dismay of the Indy 11 staff and handful of fans in attendance. That one's going to go out of play for a Detroit City FC throw-in. Good job by Romine there to shuffle the feet and keep it with her side. A foot's thrown at it there. Washington can play it up to Addison, who's making a run. Addison not able to corral it, but it does a great job to get it back to Crum. Crum now has numbers forward with her. She's going to go to ground and win the free kick. So Sexton again with the foul. Curious. Yeah, we'll see it again here. Good job by Addison to calm it down a little bit, and eventually Steffen stands over the ball once again and get ready for this free kick opportunity. Probably just put it into the mixer. It's up, and Bosley was up for it, but just maybe ran a little bit beyond her. Good touch by Romine to shuffle it over to Martin. A really clever flick there for Romine. Romine unable to corral it. She had Bosley and acres of space at the top of the area, and now Indy 11 might be able to go the other way with numbers.
This is the point of the game where Indy really has no choice but to start pressing for that goal. I'm starting to see, as soon as they win the ball, numbers streaming forward. Of course, that will open up opportunities on the other side for Addison and Joelle Washington to run in behind as we see it.
And Kayla Addison now.
Just like that.
Kayla Addison now running into some space. Kayla Addison cuts it on to her right, goes for it. And that one was always rising and out of play.
I imagine we're starting to see the first signs of just how open these last 20 minutes of the game will be as Indy pushes for this tying goal. That was a good example of what I was just talking about, where Addison got the ball in a lot of space and was able to advance it.
Indy 11 looking for an equalizer. Playing it forward as they've done so all day. Chester gets it out wide, but it's a great job. We're coming up on the second half hydration break. I think the referee's going to allow the substitute to come in before we see that hydration break.
It will be Nyota Katembo coming in, number 4. Let's see if we can figure out who's coming out.
It's like number 19. So Whitset comes out and Katembo comes in for Indy 11. 70 minutes gone at Keyworth Stadium. Detroit City FC up 2-1 with goals from Emily Paget and Sophia Romine. We'll see another substitute getting ready here for Detroit City FC. Alexandria Tefen's going to come into this one. The Oakland University Golden Grizzly. It was what looked to be a good touch there from Washington to keep it in, and Addison keeps it in eventually through Crum, and Addison just gets it over to Washington. Just the front line just looks discombobulated for Detroit City FC right now. Not a lot of composure on the ball when receiving it to feet.
That is somewhat a product of playing probably the best defense that they've played all year in Indy 11. They're used to having a little bit more time on the ball, being able to take that extra touch that they just do not have today.
Indy 11 now, top of the area, skips past Romine. That shot comes in, it's over everybody.
Almost over the wall.
And it goes right above the A in the word stadium on the Keyworth wall. So we'll see the substitute come on here. It'll be Tefen's going to enter the match for Ella Offer. So Ella Offer assisted that first goal. We mentioned the quality she has. She was named to the USLW League Team of the Month for June, and now replaced by Allie Tefend. There's another one of those unsung heroes that Dave Dwahey and his staff have loved this season. She hasn't always been on the starting 11, but she's always been in the 18, working hard, and you know what you get from her off the bench.
Well, and Ella Offer has put in a shift today. She's been up and down the field. And Tefend coming in is just going to recharge the legs on that left side. She also covers a lot of ground. I think Ella was probably just getting a little bit tired.
And yeah, the heat's definitely starting to play a factor here at Keyworth. These subs are going to be influenced by the current conditions down there on the pitch.
And that's really a like-for-like change from Dave Dwahey, so that's not a change of system or anything. And it's nice to have that luxury where you can just plug and play like that.
Hannah Crum's been phenomenal since coming on here, really composed on the ball, a lot of clever turns and switches from her, and her side will have appreciated that as Washington now tries to slip the ball in through to Addison, and it's going to be Kate Phillips that's going to have to come off of her line and claim that one. So Indy 11 now looking to break down the other end of the pitch. That'll stay with Detroit City FC. That's a great job by Washington to go to ground and keep it, with LaRouge. Romine just slipped that one in, and a really clever ball around the corner by Washington. Across to Steffen. Danny Steffen does well to get it out of her feet quickly over to Sulis. Detroit City FC continuing the same formula we've seen all season. Play out of the back, play on the front foot. Don't try to overcomplicate things too much. Sulis in the middle to Addison. Addison, a great touch inside to Romine. Romine sort of in a space of her own right here, does well to turn out of danger and play over to Drew Martin. Martin down the line to Bosley. Bosley does well with her back to goal, a composed pass back over to Martin. The ball eventually finds its way back to Sulis. Sulis inside to Fend, and back out to Sulis it comes. Left-footed ball into the area. Washing up for the header, misses out. Falls to the feet of Romine. Never a bad position to be in with Sophia Romine on the ball. Romine lays it off inside to Tefend. Tefend to the goal line. Plays a left-footed ball across. Indy 11 keeper goes for it. Bosley pays it in. On the ground, Addison! It's 3-1 Detroit City FC! Kayla Addison, the all-time leading goal scorer for LaRouge, adds her 11th total and gives Detroit City FC some breathing room with just 15 minutes remaining.
Well, you can really see the value that bringing on Tefend had in that play. She was able to get forward and get the ball into the box with her fresh legs. Perfect delivery in, the ball bounced around, and it was Addison there to fire it home, and she's not going to miss from there.
Kayla Addison has been one of the mainstays of this Detroit City FC team, whether it's been indoor, whether it's been outdoor. For the last few years, Kayla Addison has had to fight for her place. Her first ever soccer coach was the mayor of Detroit.
See her pumping the crowd up.
She's been an absolute driver of the culture of this team for the last few years. And in this moment, she might be the hero that Detroit City FC was looking for. When the game got tough, when the chips were down, Kayla Addison doubles the Detroit City FC lead in a massive moment for the squad.
One more look at the ball that Tefend sent in. Punched out by Phillips, but she didn't really clear it far enough. And Addison there to jump
and you
on
see
the
what
opportunity.
It means to her. You see what it means to the squad. We saw, it wasn't on camera, but we see Gabby Schreiber running up to hug Maya Sulis. This water break will be a moment of coaching for Dwahey and his staff, as well as Brandon Kim down there. If you're Indy 11, you got to get a quick one. And if you're Dwahey and their side, you're telling them, enjoy the moment, enjoy the situation, but be aware of still, there's a task at hand. There's 16 minutes left to play. It's not over yet.
Well, and certainly at this point, Indy has no choice but to press for not only the tying goal, but the goal before that. They have to get 2 on the board here in the next 16 minutes or so to have a chance to stay alive for the season.
Out of the water break, huddles now. The vibe's certainly a lot better on the Detroit City FC side of things. But Indy 11 has dug deep before. They've dug deep in the season. They've dug deep in the postseason, and they'll have to dig a lot deeper here to try to get back into this one with just 13 minutes plus stoppage time remaining at Keyworth. Indy 11 kicks things off. Immediate pressure from Joelle Washington and Kayla Addison. Play it into some space. Stefan was up for it. Does well from Stefan to Fend and Crum. That's a great turn by Stefan to shift it onto her opposite foot and play it back out wide to Drew Martin. Drew Martin looks up, plays it to the feet of Kayla Addison with her back to goal in the midfield. Addison tried to slip it in for Bosley. She loses it, but a great job by Stefan to step up into some space and play it back down the line. Played down the line, and Indy 11 now in some space on the far side. Bosley and Murphy up to defend it, but Indy 11 having to pass around some channels here to try to create space further up the pitch for their attackers, who desperately need to step up and get more involved in this match.
Well, and Detroit has the luxury at this point, sitting on a 2-goal lead. They can really slow down the game. They can be patient in defense, let Indy pass it around their back line. That's not going to bother them at all at this point.
Crum received the ball there in acres of space, elected to get onto it and just kind of played it up into nobody, but a good job by Crum to get back onto it. Crum, of course, involved in that PASL season in the wintertime. A moment of worry here as Shriver goes to get it. Not out of the woods yet as Indy 11's going to play that one in, but as calm as you can be on the goal line there is Maya Sulis. But Tefend might play LaRouge into some danger here. Soderstrom on the ball, tries to skip past Tefend. A good shuffle by Tefend to play it back up the pitch, but Rogers on the ball. Romine, though, onto it for Detroit City.
Well, that was excellent awareness from Sulis to recognize the danger, get back to the goal line in well enough time to deal with it. I saw her set up on the goal line for about 2 seconds before the shot even came in.
Center referee is going to say that one's staying with Detroit City. We'll see it here. Shriver, it's great to come off her line. She needed to, or else it would have been a lot more dangerous. And that's about a calm of a touch you'll see on the goal line in any level, in any match this season.
Technically a goal line clearance, I think, but about as easy as one you'll see.
The winner of this match, whoever it may be, will take on the winner of the West. Colorado Storm currently up 1-0 in the first half of that match. So something important to keep an eye on. Great shuffle there by Crum. She's going to go to ground. It's going to stay with Detroit City FC on this end of the pitch. And I really can't say it enough. Hannah Crum's been excellent since coming on and slowing things down and just really clever shuffles of the ball from Detroit City. As you see another substitute here from Indy 11, it's going to be Nora Jacomin that enters the match.
And it is Katie Soderstrom who gets subbed off.
And she put in a shift out there for Indy 11 today.
Katie Soderstrom, that's a lot of attacking talent who just left the field for Indy. She is a goal scorer, both in college and for club.
Murphy goes to ground there, not fully out of the woods yet, or Detroit City FC. That shot's going to come in, and that's not what what Indy 11 needs right there, because Shriver's going to take all the time she needs to hop over and get this ball. As we see another substitute getting readied here for LaRouge. We'll see it again here. It was a great pressure there off the ball by Mitchell. And the shot just comes in from Mitchell. Tried to replicate what she did early on in that first half. But it's out of play for a Gabby Shriver goal kick. Indy 11, of course, competing in the USL Championship. We'll see Detroit City FC one more time this season later on at Keyworth. Sort of a weird soccer political climate out there in Indianapolis right now. 11 Park plan sort of up in the air. But the community, the team responded to that well by putting some results on the board in the USL and creeping into that home playoff place, currently sitting third in the Eastern Conference. It goes without saying how successful they've been on the women's side. But right now they're going to have to be as successful as they've ever been in the last 9 minutes plus stoppage here from Keyworth. As Alexandria Terfen now on the ball in some space out wide. She's going to play that one across. Addison was up for it, and that was sort of the same angle we saw Kate Phillips make a mess out of that led to the third Detroit City FC goal. So good to see her corral that one and and try to get her side back up the pitch. Great job by Tefen to be in that moment, be in that position. A few minutes later on the clock, I feel like we see Tefen kind of just keep that one out in the corner. And we see the substitute now, Lily Bosley, a great performance from the University of Michigan midfielder. She'll make way for Allison Childers.
So she will slot directly into that defensive midfield spot. Again, another like-for-like change from David Juehi.
Indy 11 now pushing forward, trying to get something out of this Detroit City FC back line, trying to see if they'll blink, trying to see if they'll falter under the pressure. But right now able to relieve some of that pressure with a free kick in Indy 11's half.
And earn some valuable seconds off the clock from Detroit's perspective. They'll be willing to take their time to take this.
That one's played in over everybody, but not importantly over Kate Phillips. Sulis settles it down. Stefan blasts it away. Romine applying some pressure now out wide as Indy 11 looks to break forward. A great tackle there by Romine. It was clean. She wins the ball, but Indy 11 win the throw in.
Showing no signs of tired legs from Romine. The effort she is able to still put in to chase down that ball and make that tackle is impressive. That is a stern tackle, but fair. She got all the ball.
A fair one. And I don't think the Indy 11 players were even asking for a foul. I don't know how good of a tackle that is, but still worse for wear is the Indy 11 player coming off the turf. And good to see the crowd here give her applause for getting up. Throwing down the line. Great job by Detroit City FC to win a throw in here. These are valuable seconds for LaRouge. Kayla Addison muscled off of it. It'll go the way of Indy 11. Indy 11 not shying away yet. Cleared away by Tefen. Kayla Addison with her back to goal now. Going to play it all the way across into the Indy 11 back line. Had Washington up with her only, as Romine's going to do some pressure on the edge of the area. That one's going to be played in. Childers, the substitute, gets it away, and then Hannah Crum makes sure of it. But it stays with Indy 11 through Ella Rogers. Rogers gets it onto this near side. It's going to be Sexton. Only played 45 minutes, so relatively fresh legs there from Sexton. But again, a great step and turn there by Hannah Crum. Crum plays it into the pocket of space and takes more time off the clock. Childers up for it. It's going to go over everybody, but not over Tefen, who gets a crucial header onto it. And Childers shapes her body in a way that's going to put her onto the ball here. Romine back to Childers. Childers back out wide to Martin. Martin into Romine. Romine taken off of the ball cleanly. She looked at the referee. Don't think she was asking for a foul. If she was, it was a half-hearted attempt. Great step into the area there by Murphy to get a foot onto it.
Get another look at the tackle here. Ella Rogers able to just get her.
Indy 11 takes a right-footed strike. It's off of Stefan. Sexton now on the ball. Forced out wide from Tefen. That one's going to take a skip off of Tefen over to the feet of Sulis. Sulis calmly plays it to Tefen, but maybe a little bit too narrow as Sexton now on the ball once again for Indy. It's crossed in, out and out of play for Gabby Shriver to take the goal kick now.
Well, Indy feels like they're snatching at chances now. Early in the second half, she probably would have taken her time there to work the ball in, create a better opportunity. Instead, she just tries to whip in across. A little panicked, maybe, sends it over the goal.
Sulis plays it forward. Addison and Romine up for it. Romine's going to have all the time in the world to get onto this ball. Elects to see it go out for a throw, and that's a smart play by Sophia Romine.
Nice back heel from Addison.
Murphy's going to do some defending.
Ball will go out for a Detroit City goal kick, and they will take their time yet again taking this. We see Acadia Murphy played all, 87 minutes so far, ready to take it. He plays the ball back to Kate Phillips. Looking to play the ball over top. Sulis is there.
Does a great job to get back. Great job to see that one out of play by Maya Sulis.
And we'll go out for another Detroit City goal kick.
Of course, a conversation being had here. Who wants to take this one?
It's important to get right,
that
especially in the dying minutes of a game.
That one's played up into space. Settled well by the substitute, Katembo. Played forward into the area. Good defending there by Childers and Murphy. That one's going to take a deflection, and Shriver's going to be onto it.
She's going to take her time.
I believe she can pick this one up legally. Does just that, and Indy 11 player throws a foot in there.
She's trying to waste the maximum amount of time there to let it tick off the clock. Maybe took a second too long.
That one's played up and into some space. It's going to stay with Indy 11 as we creep up on the 90th minute. 1 minute plus stoppage time remaining at Keyworth Stadium. Stefan applying the pressure. Did well enough to see it on to the feet of Tefend. Tefend tried to play it through the legs there of Sexton, but it's going to stay back with Indy 11. Tefend doing some work now, having to defend, and that's going to go against Indy 11. And Brandon Kim and his bench can't believe it. They're clearly frustrated with the way these last 20 or 30 minutes have gone for their side.
Having seen the replay, I am surprised that this. Oh, it was whistled for a kick. I thought they were signaling for a throw-in.
Up in the air, settled down by Romine. Romine battles through the pressure. Great step in there by Crum. Crum wins it back for Detroit City FC, and that's a valuable interception for LaRouge. Another player who this season has stepped up in an immense way for Detroit City FC. Off the bench, always dependable, Hannah Crum, as we're into 4 minutes of second half stoppage time.
That's a crunching tackle, but it's completely fair. She got all of the ball, and the player just sent over by the contact with the ball.
Indy 11 running out of time here at Keyworth Stadium. Detroit City FC boasting an all-time record on the women's side of 26, 8, and 16. Coming into today, have scored 92 goals, conceded 63. Before this season, this undefeated 10-2-0 season, their best was back in 2021 in the UWS, where they, under the leadership of Sam Pirani, won 6, lost 4. Women's program has come heck of a long way since then, Sean.
Well, I don't think there's any question now that this is the best season they've had. It's really been remarkable, the progress they've made this season on the pitch, and it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Indy 11 prodding, probing, looking for one thing, a way back into this game. Inside to Sexton. She's been very involved since coming out at the start of the second half. That one's played over. Childers is going to do well to poke it out. Let's see if Indy 11 keeps it in here through Jacobman. They're going to let it go out for a corner. You got to imagine Kate Phillips has to come up. 90 seconds into the 4 minutes of stoppage time. I'm shocked Kate Phillips isn't in a full-blown sprint to get into the box for this one. Indy 11 needs 2 goals here in about 2 minutes and 10 seconds if they want to stay alive and force extra time. It's going to be a corner from this near side. Played in. Headers up for it, goes over everybody, eludes everybody. A great job by Sexton to cut it back. Has Jacobman back on this near side if she wants it. Elects to go to Jacobman, who throws a left foot at it, but Stephen throws a right foot at it and clears it out of danger. Kayla Addison applying the pressure, but Hannah Crum's going to get to it and throw a leg up at it. It's going to stay the way of Indy 11. Great job by Dan Marcascio down there to keep that one with Indy. Time keeps ticking for the ladies in red. 2.5 minutes into 4 minutes of stoppage time. The captain, Rogers, runs this one down. Grace Barr. Murphy. Takes it out of danger for Detroit City. Romine. It's cleared away. Only 1 minute of stoppage time separating Detroit City FC and their first ever trophy on the women's side. Washington was applying some pressure on Sexton, enough to see it back to Sulis. And Washington's up for the header, loses out, but it's back to the feet of Childers. Crum steps in and blasts it out of danger. Into the final minute of second half stoppage time from Keyworth Stadium. Detroit City FC riding comfortably at 3-1. The resilience shown from this team in this match to go behind early, to find the equalizer through Emily Paget, and then Sophia Romine gave the squad the lead before Kayla Addison pounced on a mistake to give LaRouge the 3-1 lead.
Well, it has not been an easy match for Detroit City FC, but when the chips were down, they were able to put all the tackles in they needed to hang on to the lead, grab another goal, and really great team performance.
All eyes
to the occasion.
All eyes on the referee now. It's Hannah Crum. Hannah Crum's going to throw a left-footed strike at it into the hands of Phillips. The referee blows the whistle. That's the final at Keyworth Stadium. A Detroit City FC women's team that has grown in talent and grown in stature over the years. Coached by an original founder, a former player, held together by an experienced core of players who have been here since day one. Detroit City FC makes history, reaches the summit, and claims the 2024 USLW League Central Conference Final. 3-1 over Indy 11. If there was ever a coaching staff, if there was ever a group of players more that deserve to be celebrated in this way, it's Detroit City FC.
Well, I think this is one of those teams that people are going to be talking about a decade from now, 2 decades from now. Really what they've achieved is remarkable, and you're going to see banners hang on the wall in this team's honor at this point.
The first one is always the one that gets all the credit, right? And today this team deserves nothing but credit. The way that this league is structured, though, and the players will be delighted to hear this because they've been together all season, they're not done yet. It can't be, enough great things can't be said about this Detroit City FC team. Of course, Dave Dwahey at the helm of it, but the assistant coaches, Nate Northup, Nate Stovall, Danny Evans, Matt Walchowski, Scott Vlochik, Elisa Barron as the sports performance coach, Trevor James, sporting director, Tiffany Eberg-James, VP of Sporting and Wellness, Archer Guancho's coming a big part this year, helping out this team with scouting. This is a well-deserved victory. It's a popular victory, and it's one that that's going to be remembered for a long time. This is a really special moment at Keyworth Stadium, a special squad that stuck together all year and came up big when they needed to. This is really cool to see with Detroit City FC.
And you can see what it means to the players.
Chelsea Radigan, of course, the team trainer down there as well. It was a collective effort from Detroit City FC.
You can see what it means to the players. Hugs all around, celebrations starting.
It's a big moment. It's one that they lived up to. They were working up to this moment all season. Detroit City FC all year. They stepped up when they needed to. They overcame so many hurdles. At first, it was beat Midwest United for the first time. Then it was beat Kalamazoo. Then it was beat Midwest United again to claim the spot in the playoffs. And now they are.
Their first playoff victory. Now their second playoff victory. Their first trophy. It's really been a historic season for the team.
This team's not done yet. Detroit City FC set to host the 2024 USLW League National Semifinal next weekend at Keyworth Stadium. Be a doubleheader with the Detroit City FC men's side with more specifics to come. All season, it's been me, Jarrett Mackey, and Sean Grogan up here. Thank you so much to all the incredible work from our cameramen up top, those running the show, those up in the press box, the players on the field, everyone that helps out on game day for Detroit City FC. It was a collective effort this year, and they got it done, and they're not done yet. We'll be right back here at Keyworth Stadium next Saturday. I've been Jarrett Mackey alongside Sean Grogan. Thank you guys so much for watching.